first at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
In tonight's headlines, delimitation report will be gazetted within a month. Pfizer informs Supreme Court. Sri Lanka's development lies on access to global markets, says Prime Minister. 3 children die in fatal bus-van collision. And 6 killed in Canada mosque shooting. Good evening. It's Monday, the 30th of January 2017. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Let's begin with the local news. The lives of 3 children were claimed in a collision between a bus and a van on the Akkarepattu-Batticaloa main road early this morning. 19 others who sustained injuries in the accident are being treated at the Ashraf Memorial Hospital in Kalmune.
The accident occurred at Sainthamarthu when a Sri Lanka Transport Board bus plying from Ampara to Batticaloa collided with a van travelling on the opposite direction. The accident was recorded in a nearby CCTV camera. 22 persons who had been travelling in the van were immediately rushed to the Ashraf Memorial Hospital in Kalmune.
We are to transfer a mother whose hand was amputated to Batticaloa Hospital for orthopedic opinion. Another patient who is suffering from internal bleeding is being operated. Another has fractures. The remaining patients have sustained minor injuries.
However, at the time of admission, 3 children who were among them had succumbed to their injuries. The victims are identified as 3 boys of the ages of 2, 4 and 8 from Kalmune.
I was driving in the middle of the road. There weren't any other vehicles in the vicinity. Suddenly a bus drove head-on. Although I tried to veer the vehicle aside, the bus collided, overturning the van. I don't remember what happened afterwards.
My parents returned from Mecca. We were on the way from the airport. When we took the Sainthamarthu turn, we saw a bus approaching really fast. Then it hit our van.
Kalmune police arrested the driver of the SLTB bus. Further investigations are underway. Meanwhile, in a separate incident in Inamalwa, 14 people were injured when a private bus veered off the road on the Dambulla-Haparana main road. The injured were admitted to the Dambulla hospital. The condition of the 3 of the injured passengers was reported to be critical. Meanwhile, an individual sustained injuries in an accident on the Southern Expressway when his car went out of control. The speeding car heading towards Galle had collided with a truck and another car near the Kalutara Dodangoda exit of the expressway.
The Presidential Commission investigating serious allegations of fraud, corruption, abuse of power, state resources and privileges was handed over to President Maithripala Sirisena today. Chairman of the Commission, Preeti Padma Surasena, submitted completed reports of investigations in Sri Lanka Catering Services, Sri Lankan Airlines and Lunuvilla Coconut Research Institute. They were submitted to the President. Now, alleged acts of fraud and corruption between the period of January 2010 to January 10, 2015 were under review. With the 3 reports, the Commission has already submitted 12 investigations. Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, Faisal Mustafa, has informed Supreme Court that the Delimitation Appeals Committee report will be gazetted within a month. This was informed when a fundamental rights petition filed by PAFREL was taken up for hearing this morning.
The delimitation report, including all signatures of the 5 committee members, was handed over to Minister Faisal Mustafa on the 17th of January. Today, the case was postponed until March 13th after the attorney representing Minister Faisal Mustafa informed court that necessary steps have been taken to gazette the delimitation report within a month.
The lawyer from the local government minister's side that he agreed to gazette this delimitation report within the 1 month period. We referred 3 actually. The one is we asked the time frame for the delimitation. And secondly, we asked the accept the delimitation report. Thirdly, we asked address the technical issues within the same given period. Today, we got only the time frame for the delimitation. We hope that this was the biggest challenge for the election. So, with this gazette notification, the election commissioner will able to declare the elections. So, we hope within next 4 months period, we will be able to have a local elections.
In other local stories, 4 persons remanded in connection with the January 8th clashes in Hambantota were released on bail today. The court order was given when 29 suspects were produced before the Hambantota Magistrates Court this morning.
Earlier this month, Tangol police arrested 52 persons for unruly behavior during protests carried out during the foundation stone laying ceremony for an industrial development zone in Mirijjavala, Hambantota. 23 of the suspects were later released on bail, while the remaining 29 were held in remand custody until their case was called before the Hambantota Magistrates Court this morning. Magistrate Manjula Karunaratna ordered the release of 4 of the suspects on special conditions, each for 3 personal sureties of ₹500,000. The remaining 25 suspects were further remanded until February 13th.
Well, a mother nurtures a child, the future of our nation. During pregnancy, a mother requires the highest level of medical and mental attention in order to deliver a healthy baby. We have a horrendous story of a place in Sri Lanka that has forgotten just this. This is the story of our correspondent from the field when he visited the Mahayuluppalama Primary Medical Care Unit in Anuradhapura.
This building is not in a condition to have a maternity clinic. It poses a huge risk to our lives and lives of children who attend regular clinical sessions. In fact, some kids get infected. When it is the rainy season, we cannot walk outside the clinic.
Despite the lack of public transport, Indunil Hemakanthi travels 3 kilometers from Puliyankulama to Mahayuluppalama regularly in order to attend maternity clinics. For the primary medical care unit in Mahayuluppalama is the only healthcare unit offering medical advice to pregnant mothers. Regardless of carrying out medical services for the sick and vulnerable, the place does not even seem appropriate for a healthy human being.
We face many difficulties due to not having proper infrastructure facilities in the clinic. We do not have a proper tap to drink water. Bats fly inside and we cannot close the windows since they are broken. Dogs come inside the clinic and we don't even have a way to clean the dirt.
Unrepaired and underdeveloped, this building is possibly home to some of the worst and life-threatening infections we are aware of. People from 10 villages in the Anuradhapura district visit the medical care unit daily to fulfill their child health and maternity care requirements.
We do not have a way to give proper treatments to pregnant mothers and children. There is a great risk of them being infected. If the children get infected, no authority will take responsibility.
Around 100 pregnant mothers and infants are seen here daily.
I have been coming to this maternity clinic for a few months. We have no proper toilets, no welfare facilities. We have to face many difficulties. It is not in a condition to be used for a maternity clinic.
Located nearby, a separately built facility without purpose, which could have easily housed the medical care unit, is similarly run down only due to long-term negligence and underutilization.
There are few government buildings nearby, and if they can give us one of those places to carry out the maternity clinic, we will be grateful.
Although people complain of dilapidated access roads, cracked walls, ceiling leakages, unacceptable sanitary facilities and unhygienic surroundings, authorities have somehow not seen or heard of this despair. Access to decent healthcare is a fundamental human right. Chief Minister of the North Central Province and Minister for Provincial Health, this is for your attention.
When we come back, we'll have more news. Stay with us. Welcome back. PAFREL says the Election Commission is focused on holding local government polls soon, although issues remaining over a conclusion on the technical process. Members from a few political parties and PAFREL participated in a meeting with the chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, in Rajagiriya today.
Everybody was against the idea of postponing elections. If it was to be further delayed, even the election commissioner was planning on holding elections according to the previous method to finish everything. Chairman of Election Commission said that there is a high possibility of holding the local government elections by June and that it is currently being organized. Chairman of Election Commission said that there is a high possibility of holding the local government elections by June and that it is currently being organized.
Well, State Minister of Finance Lakshmanyappa Abeyewardena emphasizes that the Auditor General is accountable only to the Parliament. He made these comments during an event held in Mathura where journalists inquired about remarks made on Auditor General's role.
The Auditor General holds the highest responsibility of the public sector. Therefore, it is an independent position. This position is accountable only to the Parliament. The Auditor General is not answerable to any minister. An Auditor General is appointed under the approval of the President. We have faith in the Auditor General because he has fulfilled his duties to the fullest. People have been making remarks about his role. However, no one can just criticize the position of an independent person just. If necessary, there is the Legislative Assembly and the President to caution him.
On to business news now. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says governments aim at developing Sri Lanka by accessing the global economy through increased investments. The Prime Minister made these comments speaking at a ceremony in Bandaragama today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe declared open the Anteleco smart metering factory in Bandaragama, Kaluthara this afternoon. Anteleco Metering Company, a joint venture between government-held Lanka Electricity Company and Antimeter Company of China, began construction work on the smart metering factory in January last year. 1 million smart meters are expected to be manufactured within the facility annually, targeting both local and export markets.
During the next 5 years, we will lay the necessary groundwork for the country. The process of industrialization will not happen just because we talk about it. We need to first find a proper market for it. Sri Lanka is not a country with a population of 1.5 billion like China. We have to find a good market. That is why we are trying to sign free trade agreements with countries that have better prospects. With the GSP Plus concession, we will be able to access the European Union market, which comprises a population of 500 million. When we come into an agreement with India, we will have access to a population of another 10 million there. As you can see, we can access a large market which has a population of 3 billion. Imagine if we are able to capture at least a percentage of this market. Some complain as to why we are signing all these free trade agreements. They even say that we are trying to sell the country to the Chinese or the Indians. All we want to do is to sell our products to those markets and to develop our country. We are focused on both industrialization and tourism as areas to spur rapid development. We could use the support of other countries to access their markets. We will then be able to develop our country. Sri Lankan stocks were higher after the close today as gains in the motors, investment, trust and plantation sector led shares higher. At the close in Colombo, the CSE all share gained 0.05%. To get the details of the day's trading, here's Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The benchmark all-share price index gained 2.84 points to close at 6,140.54, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index gained 9.25 points to close at 3,492.92. The turnover was 179.3 million rupees with 6.3 million shares changed in hands in 2,518 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,705.05 billion rupees. Top 5 gainers of the day were Lakshapana Batteries, Ceylon Hospitals Non-Voting, Kegol Plantations, Muskelia Plantations and Pegasus Hotels, while the top 5 losers were CT Land, AIA Insurance, Bogle Graphite, Lucky Lanka and Belvoir Resorts. Today's foreign purchases were 68.14 million rupees and foreign sales were 62.19 million rupees. There was one crossing and the crossing turnover was 29.17 million rupees.
Well, here's Dimantha Matthews with a forecast as to how the stock market will perform in the next few days.
Investors are likely to continue to adopt a wait-and-see approach with the slow rise in interest rates. However, selected investors are likely to go for bargain hunting as most counters are looking very attractive, especially because of the strong earnings outlook at the moment. We expect investors to be on the lookout for liquid blue-chip counters, and also we expect counters with strong earnings to be very attractive at the moment.
Also in business news, the Sri Lankan rupee traded weaker today as some foreign banks brought dollars amid demand for the US currency from importers. Rupee forwards were active with the 2-week forwards trading at 150 to 151 per dollar, weaker from Friday's close. The spot rupee was quoted around the central bank's revised reference level of 150.25. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies. On to international news now. Now, just 10 days into his presidency, just like his campaign, Donald Trump is making waves, this time across the entire world with his immigration ban for specific Muslim countries. Now, however, his administration is standing firm over its ban on immigration from 7 countries, despite court rulings and mass protest against it. In a statement, US President Trump said visas would once again be issued once the most secure policies were in place and denied it was a Muslim ban. As you can imagine, the move has been widely condemned.
In New York City, a second wave of demonstrations followed spontaneous rallies that broke out at U.S. airports as U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents began enforcing U.S. President Donald Trump's directive. Protests took place within sight of the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor, long a symbol of welcome to the U.S. shores. The march, estimated to have grown to about 10,000 people, later began heading to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Office in Lower Manhattan. Trump defended the executive order in a statement yesterday, saying the United States would resume issuing visas to all countries once secure policies were put in place over the next 90 days. Trump's executive order signed on Friday halted the entire U.S. refugee program for 120 days, indefinitely banned Syrian refugees, and suspended all nationals from 7 Muslim-majority countries. Those who were already mid-flight were detained on arrival, even if they held valid U.S. visas or other immigration permits. It is not known how many others were turned away at airports overseas as they tried to board flights to the United States.
Now, in the back of this immigration ban in the United States, in Canada, 6 people have been killed and another 8 wounded in a shooting at a mosque in Quebec City. Shots were fired at the Quebec Islamic Cultural Centre, where dozens had gathered for evening prayers. Police confirm the death toll and are treating the incident as a terror attack. 2 people are in custody and officers do not believe there are other suspects at large. Police said the area was secure and the situation was under control. Canadian Prime Minister also described the shooting as a terrorist attack. The Prime Minister also said that he heard of the news with tremendous shock, sadness and anger. Well, here's some beautiful news. The beauty queens took to the stage today for the 2017 Miss Universe competition, with host Steve Harvey awarding the crown to the winner, Miss France.
Iris Mittener, who is pursuing a degree in dental surgery, beat off 85 stunning hopefuls today following a 3-hour show in the Philippine capital. Raquel Pelissier of Haiti is the first runner-up, while Andrea Tovar of Colombia was placed the second runner-up. It is the third time Philippines hosted the 65th edition of the most awaited annual beauty competition. Steve Harvey returned as the host of Miss Universe competition after a gaffe in the 2015 competition when he mistakenly announced the wrong winner.
Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the weather. On to sports news now. The Blind Cricket World Cup for 2020 was launched in India yesterday. Sri Lanka will face off New Zealand in the first match round. Speaking to Ada Derana, captain of Sri Lanka blind cricket team, Chandana Deshapriya said that the team is in good form.
10 teams are participating at this year's blind cricket tournament. The visually impaired cricket tournament is held under league system, and the Sri Lankan team will face 9 matches in the first round.
We are getting ready for tomorrow's 2020 match with the New Zealand team. It is after a long time that Sri Lankans are playing with the New Zealand team. At the moment, our team plays with a good mental and physical health condition. New Delhi is going through a cold weather condition at the moment. However, we trust that we can bring victory to Sri Lanka in tomorrow's match.
On to some tennis news. Roger Federer won his 18th Grand Slam title and first for 5 years with a thrilling 5-set victory over Rafael Nadal in the Australian Open final. Federer's achievement in ending his drought is all the more remarkable given this was his first tournament since Wimbledon last July, after which he took the second half of the season off to recover from a knee injury.
The return of one of the great tennis rivalries to the Grand Slam finals stage led to huge anticipation, and it lived up to the billing over 3 hours and 37 minutes. The 35-year-old Swiss won 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3 to claim his 5th Melbourne title and extend his lead at the top of the all-time men's major winners list. Nadal, 30, remains tied in second with Pete Sampras on 14 Grand Slams following his first final since 2014. Federer's previous major title came at Wimbledon in 2012. He becomes the first man in history to win 5 or more titles at 3 different Grand Slam events, 5 Australian Opens, 5 US Opens and 7 Wimbledons. Nadal was also on the way back from injuries that curtailed his 2016 season, but the Spaniard could not improve his winning record against Federer. The Swiss has now won 12 of their 35 matches and 3 of 9 major finals.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.